My fellow Americans.
My fellow Americans.
My fellow Americans.
My fellow Americans.
Everybody gets one.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm DJ and today we are going to be talking about voting in the United States. So, the first step to voting is you have to be registered to vote. You can register in some places as early as 17 and a half, like I did. However, you must be 18 by the actual election when it comes around. So, election November 3rd. If you're born on November 4th, sorry about you. You're going to have to sit this one out to the next 2 years. Yes, every election counts, even if the presidential candidate is or is not listed on the ballot. So remember that. This is how you register to vote, okay? So, you are about 17 and a half and you should be 18 by the time the election happens. Check that box off. You also must be a United States citizen. Check that box off. There are some restrictions depending on your state. If you have a type of criminal background, there are 3 ways you can register to vote. The first way is to go in person to your local public library, so your city library, and usually they have voter registration forms there. Second place you can go to register to vote is you go into your local post office, USPS, and they usually have voter registration forms. I registered to vote, actually. I went to the local post office. Next, you can go to vote.org or you can go to usa.gov, and usually it's an index of websites to help you pick your state, and then you'll drop you down to the county level. That's who usually keeps in charge with all the ballots and information. How everything is compiled is on the county level, give or take. So you will go there and you will follow the steps and fill out the right information, or they might just mail you your voter registration to fill out and to mail back in. So, you've already registered. You actually have been registered for years. You know what you still need to do? Check your voter registration status. So, what you'll do is you will go to your county website, or you can go to your state website. Here's why. Number 1, you need to make sure you are registered to vote at your current address for that area. So if you have moved in the past 2 years or so, you need to check your voter registration status with your address and make sure you're listed. Because what happens when you go in to vote, they will ask for a form of identification. And one common identification they'll ask for is your driver's license or your identification card or your ID. On there is an address. Your address literally determines what is on your ballot and who you will vote for, because based on where you live, you will vote for, give me a moment here, your U.S. representative, your state senator, your state representative, your mayor, your city council, and some other things. I know some places do county commissioners. I think all places do county commissioners. Judges, district attorneys, sheriffs, state sheriffs, county sheriffs. Who the candidates are on your ballot depends on where you live. So it's very important to make sure your address is up to date and you are voting for the relevant people for where you currently live. If you do not, you can still go to vote.org or usa.gov, or you can go to your state website and you will fill out the information and put your up-to-date address, so you don't have to worry about that when you go in to vote the day of and they're like,
your address does not match our records. That's an issue.
Another thing that has happened is some states or areas or counties are doing some things where they are purging the voter registration logs. And that's usually, they're like, okay, this person is deceased. This person has not voted in the last 3 decades. Let's take them off. Or other reasons why they might take other people off. And your name might accidentally get mixed up and they take your name off. So that's one reason you also want to double check. Another reason you want to check your voter registration status is to see where you can vote the day of or when you do early voting. For early voting, many states do about a month ahead of time of where you can go in and vote, or you can wait to the day of. I highly recommend going in and doing early voting because there's usually not a long wait time. It's not the deadline where everyone's rushing last minute to do it. You can go in, take your time. Well, you take your time anyway when you're voting. But the lines won't be so long while you're waiting to vote. I know where I live for early voting, I can go to about anywhere in the county because we do electronic votes. It's like high-tech stuff. They have to pull up everything by my address. They're like, oh, here's your ballot for your zip code, basically. Here you go vote. You pick on the computer. It will spit your sheet out, and then you can put it into the main machine that will count your vote. Some places have paper ballots. You don't have as many options. You have your specific areas. You may have to go to the community center down the street, or you can go to the county office in your county. So what if you won't be where you're registered to vote? Let's say you are a college student out of state, or you are a service member overseas. Thank you for your service. You can get what is called an absentee ballot. Or maybe you are a United States citizen who might be studying abroad, or you are out of the country on business, or you are currently on a job expedition overseas and you are unable to come back to vote. You can also request an absentee ballot. So what you will do is you will go to usa.gov and follow the instructions there. I really like the usa.gov website for what's going on. It's really good about breaking down everything and explaining the terminology. So I highly recommend, if this is your first time voting, if this is your 20th time voting and you're like, well, I never knew like the ins and outs of voting. So I highly recommend poking around there if you ever have questions or you just want to just have time and want to learn something new. For absentee ballots, there is a cutoff date. You must request your ballot, I would say, about a month and a half or so before election time. So there's enough time that they can mail it to you. You fill out all your information and then you mail it back. Something to remember when doing this is when you get an absentee ballot, you might have to send in extra information, like a copy of your driver's license or your passport to make sure you are who you say you are, and they can match that up then and there. You will also have to sign in various places to say, yes, I understand if I am lying or whatnot, I can go to jail, and I recognize that I can go to jail if I'm lying. Also, let's say you send in your absentee ballot and something happens and you're actually in the United States and you're like, oh,
I sent in my ballot. Can I still vote in person again? Can I vote twice? No.
1 vote per person.
Everybody gets one.
You are not allowed to do an absentee ballot and then go vote in person. That is not allowed. That is illegal. You can get fined and you can go to prison. Depending on which state you are voting in or which area you are voting in specifically, they have a special tracking system where they go, okay, here's your tracking number. You can tell when the post office has it, when it gets to the elections office, and when they scan it in and your vote has been counted. So they do have those tracking systems. What is on your ballot? So it is October now. So basically the ballots are finalized. You can go online and look at what is called a sample ballot, which nothing should change on the day of the election. So you actually have the opportunity to research and look up the people, the candidates, and the laws, regulations, and possible changes to your state constitution that are listed on your ballot, instead of you moseying up there on whatever day you go to vote.
You're like, I have no idea who any of these people are. I have no idea what these laws could change, who it may affect, what villages may burn. But I'm a mark on it anyways.
You can actually look up your sample ballot. You can go to your county website. That's a good place to go. Or you can go to usa.gov, and that will get you to the right place to find your ballot. Or you can go to vote.org. That will get you to your ballot. And you can see, oh, these are my candidates. You can look and see who's running for office, which positions and offices are open, which regulations or proposals to the Constitution. You can research it. You can look into it. Something I have done for the past 4 elections, give or take. I have looked at my sample ballot like a day or two before I decided to go in and vote, looked at the people. This is where I like going to ballottopia.org. So a good website to go to help look at your specific ballot and to research the candidates on your ballot is called ballotpedia.org. I have actually used this in the past. It tells you about the candidate, how many years they have been in office, maybe if they've held other offices. And it also has a link to the direct candidate's website, so you don't have to comb through everything. You can go to ballotpedia.org, find your ballot, be like, oh, this is who's running for my state representative. Oh, I have 3 different people going for that. Let me check out the candidates. You can click on the different candidates, read some stuff about them, go to their website, find out their stances on different issues, and that really helps in researching the candidates on your ballot. What will be on your ballot? So you will have 2 main things on your ballot. You will have offices that will have the various different candidates. Some people might run unopposed, meaning they're the only ones running for that office. And the second thing you will have is legislature, which may be changing a law or making a change to your state constitution. So those are the 2 main things you'll find on your ballot. Which offices will be on your ballot? I don't know. It depends on the area. All I know for sure is that we all will have the president/vice president office listed on our ballot. Depending on which state you are in and which year it is, you may be voting for a U.S. representative or U.S. senator. Something to note. So if you're in there, you're researching your candidates, and you're
Like, I really do not support neither candidate's stance or anything.
you are allowed to leave it blank, and it will not mess up your voting. It will still count it as a blank. Trust me, I know this from personal experience. However, you are not allowed to mark 2 people for the same office, though. So you can leave it blank, but you can't mark 2. Alright, everyone, so that is the first video on voting. What? First? That's right. There is more to come later on about voting, because there's a lot to unpack about the voting system that we have not been taught in school lately.